hard work doesn't work. Here's why. Most people will work for 40 years, give everything they have, follow every rule, and end up almost exactly where they started. Not because they were lazy, not because they weren't good enough, but because nobody ever showed them how outcomes actually work. This video does that. In the next 10 minutes, the way you see effort, success, and progress will never be the same. Think of someone who does everything right and still ends up stuck. We're taught from an early age that hard work is the main driver of success. Put in more hours, push harder, stay disciplined, wake up earlier, do more. And if results don't come, the assumption is always the same: you didn't try hard enough. This idea is everywhere: in schools, in workplaces, in self help books, in motivational content. The message is consistent. Effort is the variable that separates those who succeed from those who don't. But there's a problem with that story. It doesn't match reality. A system is the set of rules, incentives, and constraints that shape what's possible inside any environment. It determines what gets rewarded, what gets punished, what compounds over time, and what stays flat no matter how hard you push. Effort inside a good system compounds. Skills build on skills. Decisions create options. Visibility creates opportunity. Progress accelerates. Effort inside a bad system just creates motion. You move. You sweat. You stay tired, but the destination never changes. Think about two people working the same job. Same company, same starting point. Both show up early. Both stay late. Both work hard. One works in a role with clear leverage, where skills compound, decisions matter, and visibility exists. Where the work they do today makes tomorrow's work easier. Where results are seen by the right people. Where performance creates options. The other works in a role where effort is capped, where output is fixed regardless of quality, where incentives are flat, where progress is linear at best, where working twice as hard produces maybe 10% more. After 5 years, the gap between them isn't effort. It's not discipline. It's not talent. It's the system one of them was placed inside. One environment made progress structurally likely. The other made it structurally unlikely. Effort didn't decide the outcome. Position did. This isn't just about jobs. Imagine someone who followed every rule in life. They stayed loyal. They avoided risk. They did what was expected. They trusted that consistency alone would eventually be rewarded. 5 years later, they're still in the same position. Not because they lacked effort, but because the structure they were operating inside never allowed upward movement. The ceiling wasn't their capability. The ceiling was the system. And here's what makes this difficult. Most people never question the system. They question themselves. They work harder. They push more. They assume the problem is internal, when the problem was structural all along. There's an old military principle: victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Meaning, the outcome is largely decided before the battle begins, by preparation, by positioning, by the conditions created in advance. Systems work the same way. They decide outcomes before effort ever begins. Two businesses launch the same product. One launches into a growing market with clear demand, low competition, and strong distribution. The other launches into a saturated market with no differentiation and no access to buyers. Both founders work hard. Both are disciplined. Both sacrifice. One compounds. One collapses. The market was the system. And the system decided before effort had a chance to matter. The same pattern shows up in fitness. Someone trains hard using discipline alone. No structure. No feedback. No measurement. No progressive overload, just effort repeated indefinitely. Another person trains inside a proper system with tracked progression, structured recovery, and incremental load increases. Each session builds on the last. Weakness becomes data. Data becomes adjustment. Adjustment becomes compound progress. Both sweat, both struggle, both show up, but only one compounds. Not because they want it more, but because the system makes progress structurally inevitable. The effort is similar. The environment is completely different. So if effort alone doesn't determine outcomes, why is the belief so persistent? Because it's useful. The idea that success is purely a result of hard work is simple, easy to teach, easy to repeat, easy to sell, and easy to accept. It places responsibility entirely on the individual, while hiding the role of systems, incentives, and structure. If someone fails, the explanation stays internal. They didn't try hard enough. They weren't disciplined enough. They didn't want it badly enough. That story is convenient for a reason. It keeps systems unquestioned. Organizations benefit from effort without leverage. Institutions benefit from compliance framed as virtue. Structures benefit from people who exhaust themselves inside them, rather than stepping back to examine them. The person who followed every rule, stayed loyal, worked hard, and still didn't move, is told the failure was personal, when the environment was the variable all along. This isn't an argument against effort. Hard work matters. Discipline matters. Consistency matters. But on their own, they have no guaranteed power. Effort is an input. Systems determine what that input produces. The same effort inside different systems produces completely different outputs. A talented person inside a broken system stays stuck. An average person inside a well-designed system compounds over time. Outcomes are not purely a measure of how hard you tried. They are a measure of where you tried, inside what structure, with what incentives, and with what leverage available. Change the system, and effort finally starts to matter. Not by working harder, but by choosing better environments. Examining incentives before committing effort. Placing yourself where results are structurally more likely. Building leverage instead of just volume. The question was never, are you working hard enough? The real question is, are you working inside a system that gives your effort anywhere to go? Because effort without structure is just exhaustion with a good story. That's episode 1 of Structural Thinking. Most people will watch this and go back to working harder. A few will start asking a different question. The next episode is for that second group. If you're still here, you're probably one of them.